Doing something is just holding a singular thought in your mind at a time. Just one thought at a time. That's all that doing anything is. You just have to hold it just right there. I'm just doing dishes, doing dishes, doing dishes, doing dishes, doing dishes, doing dishes. That's all that it is. Like, you can't be like doing dishes, but I should probably pick up my phone. Doing dishes, but I should probably pick up. Doing dishes, but I should probably pick up my. Doing dishes, but I should probably pick up my. You can't do that because then that's not doing either. And she's back. Hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monica. If you've never seen me before, I post. I'm working on a post schedule. I did say at least once within the month, and I did make it back. This one is a continuation of my previous video on self-doubt. I'm still giving y'all a little bit of the same flavor, a little bit of the angst. If you've been feeling a lot of what I'm feeling, this is just me talking about my feelings, and also adding in a few of the more practical day-to-day things I've added into my routine. So thank you so much. Please let me know how you feel. I'm always open to more resources. I'm always open to seeing what y'all want to hear from me. And I'm very grateful for everyone's support and patience with me as I try to relearn how to be an adult human that like takes care of herself. So please enjoy. Love you guys so much, and I will see you soon. I'm giving y'all bare face, nothing on the face. This is me. Okay. I am not at the level where I'm getting sponsorships yet, so I'm about to give y'all a sponsorship. Oh, today's video is sponsored by me, Monica, greatgal.shop.com. Greatgal.shop. 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 That's who sponsored this video. I got some prints, a handful of prints left on there. If y'all like this painting, I'll post a video of me in front of it. I still got a few prints of those left, but also within the more affordable everyday range, I have stickers. These are my stickers. Let me show y'all. We got multicolor. Aw, isn't she gorgeous? And then I do have also clear. It'll just be like a clear, like a black outline wherever you put it. And then we got flavors. We got several other colors. So check them out if y'all are interested in it. They're super cute. I made the design myself. Little hairy leg. So cute, so wholesome. So yeah, if you guys are into it, want to support, just want some stickers, I should have done it before Christmas, so y'all had like a little, this could be like a little, y'all do stockings. My family's, I've never had a stocking in my life. We're Dominican. I don't know, like, I've never seen a Dominican person fill a stocking, but I think I might do a Valentine's Day one, like a different like thing. But yeah. In the previous video, Self-Doubt, My Brain Can Fight, I wanted to kind of vent about the mental spaces I've been in and how hard it is to work on getting better. In this one, I want to kind of ground some of what I was discussing in more tangible and practical actions and the little habits I've relearned over the past few months that have helped me feel more confident and in control. I know a lot of people are like, New Year, new me is stupid, a new year doesn't mean anything, and blah, 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 but honestly, for me, it does. Yes, while nothing will change within you just because it's a new year, even just changing holidays changes your environment. If you're a student, right now you're on winter break, and that means something. If you work in the service industry, you're experiencing mass shifts in volumes of customers on a day-to-day basis. If you live in an area with seasons like New York City right now, it's brutally cold, and soon it'll be spring. So yes, the clock striking 12 on the 1st doesn't mean your life will magically change, but this season is full of a lot of changes. I personally think it's big hater energy to rain on people's parade about the new year. I think there's something really amazing about looking forward to something, even if despite our best efforts, we don't feel like we've moved forward or actually followed through on the intentions we set. I think these past 2 New Years have been incredibly tough for a lot of us, me included. New Year's is kind of like a marker. You, whether you want to or not, look around at your present and wonder where you were last year and take in all the change. I took an acting class around this time last year, and I'm not an actor by any means, but I was alone, I felt disconnected, and I wanted company. So I took a Zoom acting class, which was kind of nice considering I was like emotionally like probably at my worst during that time. And during the class for one of the assignments, I was paired with this older woman, and we had to talk about what 2020 had been like for us at that point with the pandemic and everything. And she spoke about leaving her job and for the first time having time to actually pursue her dreams and time to herself and just time. And for me, it was the opposite. I entered 2024 and I'm leaving 2021 at the age of 26. Granted, in the grand scheme of things, it's not major, I know. It's not like that much time. But what I've lost feels like a lot in relation to how much I've actually like lived, how long I've actually been on this earth. 2019, I was making more money doing what I love than I have ever before. And outside of my finances, for the first time in my 20s, I was finally feeling good. I had, for the first time in my life, started working out. I had my first apartment on my own, which was like really big because I didn't go away to college. I stayed in the city, so I had never left my parents' house before. I was going to yoga every day, riding my bike everywhere. I started lifting at the gym. I went out all the time. I had friends and I had energy and I felt vibrant and strong and excited. I didn't need time. I didn't need to leave behind my work. I didn't need to finally be alone. I needed to actually get the hang of things. It felt like my life was cut short. And trust, I didn't have it nowhere near as bad as it could have been. But as far as my already fragile self-esteem goes, and the constant sense that my career is like a joke, because as an immigrant, it's like seared into my neurons that I should have been a doctor or something. Like literally no matter what I accomplish. It felt like life told me to sit down. Like life punished me for flying too close to the sun, for actually enjoying the life that I was building. Even if I only actually enjoyed it for like 7 months before NYC shut down, like around March 2020. And then I couldn't afford my own apartment months later because like financial crisis. So looking back on all the places we've been before in the last year, a lot of us desperately need a new year, a chance to start over, even if only on the calendar. I've spent a lot of time being disappointed in myself for all the time I thought I have wasted. And as solid as I thought I was, I've come to learn, people around me probably already knew this, but I've realized I'm very sensitive. So where finding a problem with yourself for some is the motivation to solve it, for me, it makes me shut down and feel like something is fundamentally wrong with me. And rather than trying to fix it, I jump straight into punishing myself. Coming out of 2020 and surviving 2021, woohoo! Oh man, it's been a rough year. I realized a lot of my behavior these last 2 years was a form of self-harm, essentially. Granted, I had and still have a lot of mental health issues in general. But a lot of that came to the forefront in ways that I did not know or have the access to or support to overcome at the time. So right now it's easier to reflect and think about all this stuff. Regardless, we're pushing through. And things always suck, but what I see now made it substantially worse was the dissolution of a lot of the habits I had built up over the years. I've learned a lot of things that feel obvious now in this last year, and the big theme has been learning the basics. Our society, in an idealistic, like follow the rules, bigotry and misogyny don't exist kind of way, like if you just, like let's take that out of the equation. The society, the idea of it is that by the time you're my age, like 26, you're independent. So like K through 12 and then universities here, and that's like freedom with training wheels. And then you get your first job and your first apartment and it's like, boom, you're like coasting. But a lot of us, even outside of this pandemic, have obviously had totally different experiences. With huge number of adults still living with their parents, to getting fancy, expensive degrees and having zero work opportunity, to maybe actually accomplishing everything you set out to accomplish and feeling more empty than before, to even just waking up and wondering, where did all the time go and why does it feel like you have nothing to show for it? Throughout all this general dissatisfaction and the broken systems we navigate and searching for any crumb of an American dream between couch cushions, like, we somehow learn how to adult. And by adult, I mean the basics. Maybe for a lot of you that are good at like doing one thing after the other, this isn't a thing. Like all of this is irrelevant, right? Like, so kudos to you if like this isn't like a concern for you. But hear me out. Like outside of the career anxiety, right? And the financial anxiety, right? And the fact that Americans see what you do for work as who you are as a person. How and when do you fit in the other stuff? Like that's been my question this last year. Like, how on earth do you keep your coffee table clear, or your bedside table clear, or your dirty clothes in one section? How do you wash your dishes every night and remember to go grocery shopping, or even remember what you need to get at the grocery store? Because I'll go and I'll spend $200 and I'll come back with nothing that fits together into a meal. Like, how do you remember where to fit in the meals? So come day 3 of only snacking and drinking coffee, you don't have a mental breakdown when you see all the emails you keep putting off. How do you know when it's laundry day? Like, where do you put all the paper mail you don't open because you think, like, if it's really important, they'll email me, but then you're too afraid to throw it out because what if it is important, but like now you don't really care to find out, so you just kind of like put it in a pile by the door, and now you just have a massive pile of paper mail. How often should you sweep? Because it feels like I sweep like every other day, and the floor never feels like floors did in my childhood home. Like, it's crumb city up in this house at all times. The bathroom always has soap scum and dry toothpaste, even though I just cleaned it. I'm always running out of toilet paper. And like, where does the money go? Because it comes in one day and it's gone the next. I watch videos on budgeting, but how do I budget when I don't even know when my next check is coming because I'm a freelancer? I thought I will never have to learn about retirement. Like, I thought that was a conversation for another day. Well, guess what? The day is here. The days are here. And I like watch video after video on like learning about retirement. And every day I find myself confused, learning all at once things I can't complete. And my house looks like a series of unfinished projects, of little failures, of broken systems. The plants need water. I need a meal, but the sink is full. I used to exercise, but now I'm too fatigued. Sleep isn't satisfying, but neither is being awake. In a few days, taxes are due again, and watching people online live their lives makes me feel like a child that somehow got left behind. And like, this is sounding like a slam poetry reading, but you know what? This is how I feel. Like, and the worst part is that being told it's okay, everyone goes through this, doesn't actually make it better. I don't need to feel good about this. I need to not have this be an issue. But being hard on myself is also making the issue bigger than what it is. It's making me get discouraged. Like, I cower in the shadows of my brain's own brand of like neurotic Goliath. Like, some people seemingly never care, and their lives don't fall apart somehow. I care too much. But pretending not to care is just that. It's pretending. It triggers my middle school brain. I feel like the imposter, trying to be cool, wincing at my own awkward mess. I'll never be effortless, it seems. I always wanted to be cool and clean. I wanted to have hair that never frizzed, hairless arms. I wanted to be the kind of girl with like ornate, like decorative pillows on her bed, who lit holiday candles all year round, who smells sickeningly sweet, with perfect nails and perfect skin and Bible quotes and script next to the Glade plug-in in the spotless bathroom. I wanted to be like the girls that were honor rolled and that studied and finished school and became dental hygienists with clean apartments that live upstate or in like New Jersey and like have driver's licenses and drive a nice car and have a fiance and go to brunch with their group of girlfriends, like plural girlfriends, like they have multiple friends, like, and they go to all-inclusive resorts and they just get drunk for a week and take pictures in like clear blue water and not even think. They don't even have a singular thought about the political climate or injustices of the lands steps outside of their resort. Oh my God, I sound like a pick-me girl. I'm different. But like, here I am, right? Like a few days not showered with all the potential and no valid excuse except the fact that I would, like, in reality, I would absolutely hate to be her, or at least I think I would. But I know this would fill, at least temporarily, it would fill my incessant need to be validated by those that didn't validate me growing up, until it doesn't. And all that's left is my dissatisfaction with myself. And the shame, it multiplies tenfold every time I give in and buy into the idea of milestones, of where I should be by now, instead of being where I am now, which is in front of a pile of week old dishes. The big secret I've learned is that you just gotta do it. It sounds obvious, but it's literally that. I say it like this because I've exhausted myself. I've looked upside down and inside out. I've created a million and one reasons for who I am based on every single thing I could remember has ever happened to me. I have Googled, I have YouTube, I have to-do listed myself into a panic. I've written on whiteboards, I've set alarms, calendars, I've had people hold me accountable. I have self-diagnosed myself till the cows came home. I have punished myself, been angry at myself, then mourned myself. The fact that I was never patient with myself when all I needed was help and support. Then went back to punishing myself while somehow like pitying myself at the same time, like all the while still not doing what I set out to do. And while I think the process of letting your mind roam and figure stuff out is super important, and it's how my brain works, I really overcomplicate stuff. An incredible resource I stumbled across on YouTube a few months ago that at this current version of my never-ending quest to self-improvement I credit with a huge push is Dr. K at Healthy Gamer GG on YouTube and Twitch. He is absolutely incredible and I recommend him for mental health content. As someone who has raised himself off of self-help content and TED Talks and productivity podcasts, I have the jargon on lock, which is like I still can't get it together and it somehow makes it worse, like knowing the language, having the script in your head as to how to get better. But like Dr. K's channel is truly unique and I connect with it on such a different level because he speaks to who I've become in these past few years. The previously gifted child, honor roll, polite, and full of ambition and potential, who has become a maladapted adult, setting super high expectations that I can't reach and destroy any bit of confidence I have left. He's also an actual psychiatrist and he adds in a lot of Eastern philosophy, which is a wonderful balance because sometimes in the Western perspective of like find problem and treat problem, there's a lot of like stuff that gets left out, which is just like my existential dread. Like you can't solve that. There's no pill for my existential dread. This is a quest for meaning that I kind of feel like I resonate with on like a different level. So he's great for that. So like genuinely, if you're struggling and enjoy watching stuff and learning, I really recommend him. I'll link his channel below. But in general, here are some of the things I've learned from his channel that I'll share here and speak on how I've adapted to my own life. That have essentially helped me heal from a lot of stuff. And this sounds like an ad, but I swear it's not. This is like literally what I've been doing, how I've gone from like drowning in my own mess and like panic and anxiety to like I get up and like I feed myself and I keep my apartment generally clean and like I'm making money again. So here we go. 1. Everyone is motivated. I was really good at this when I was in college. Somehow things were easier for me then. And I was great at living in the reality that inspiration isn't like a God sending a bolt of genius down into your desk, like on an uneventful evening. And now you're like a genius. Like it never comes. Inspiration never randomly hits you. You have to constantly work it like a muscle. And I somehow lost this as I lost myself these past few years. And the more I felt like I was losing, the more I was afraid to make a change. So I turned into an I'll get to it tomorrow kind of person. And one thing Dr. K said that made something really click for me is that children are super motivated. They play, they laugh, they move their bodies, they react, they do things. We are motivated to eat, to sleep, to do the things that sustain us. We're all motivated, but something happens along the way. Somewhere along the way, I stopped recognizing my own like signals. I wouldn't read. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't get up from the couch. I wouldn't do anything. I've been depressed, and I've been depressed many times before. And in the past, I've understood it as something I struggled with, and I'd pushed through. This time around, though, there was like no delineation. There was no separation from like the grief and me, or rather, I just couldn't perceive it. I'd started smoking a lot of weed too for the first time in my life. Like I didn't grow up like a pothead. But I thought, hey, it's a pandemic and I'm 25. It'll be fine. But I quickly learned that I have a very addictive like tendency. I'm like very addictive. So that shot my motivation. That my motivation was gone. And there's obviously a lot of stuff going on. There was a pandemic. I was having like insane financial issues, all the issues. But in a sense, that's life. Like, there's always issues. But what was different this time around is that I stopped all the little habits I had learned on my path to adulthood and independence. All the things you learn from your household to your first job to going to university to getting your first apartment, all of that just vanished. And I look around now and everything is a thing. Where I could do many aspects of my day-to-day on automatic. I had systems, cleaning, dishes, cooking, work, everything. Now I have to remember to do it. And it's a balancing act as I relearn everything. I'm sober now, and while I have a tendency to undermine my own experiences because I have other privileges, of course, and also my emotional permanence is crap, since I've been better, this time period I'm talking about feels kind of like a distant dream. But like, it was very real for me, and I've never experienced anything like that before. And I feel like so many of us are having to relearn how to exist. So firstly, motivation is innate. If you're struggling now, know that motivation is your most primal, true emotion. It is essential for our survival. It's just tangled up with a lot of other stuff in your brain, but don't lose hope. Think of your inner child and how present and motivated they were. You still are that. So 2, getting something done is just doing it. And that sounds stupid. And you're like, obviously, but bear with me. You can't do a thing if you don't do it. You also can't do a thing if you're trying to do something else. Meaning, if you're trying to clean your living room, but you keep stressing out about the fact that you've been putting off emails for days, now the living room isn't getting clean, and you're also actually not getting to the emails. When you say, okay, I'm just going to sit down and watch TV, but all you could think about is the dishes you didn't do, you aren't actually watching TV or doing dishes. So you're just like robbing yourself of that moment of relaxation, and you're constantly being haunted and punished by the things that you didn't do. You're therefore never ever present. And I think we understand this, but some of our brains can't help but freak out. Dr. K essentially says in one of his videos on procrastination, I believe, doing something is just holding a singular thought in your mind at a time. Just one thought at a time. That's all that doing anything is. You just have to hold it just right there. I'm just doing dishes. That's all that it is. Like, you can't be like doing dishes, but I should probably pick up my phone. Doing dishes, but I should probably pick up my. You can't do that, because then that's not doing either. And like, look, hearing it said like that, it sounds like it's so simple. But I've been practicing it. It's like meditation. It's just like being present in what you're doing. And I've noticed, like, earlier this year, anytime I tried to clean, I could only clean for like 30 minutes max. Like, continuous like thought, like focus on that one thing. I could only do it for that long, which, like, for the level of the mess that I had, made absolutely no dent in the mess. And like, now I can clean for as long as it takes for me to finish. Granted, I've made it through the bulk of the mess, but now I can kind of just focus on that, because it's like I've stopped stressing myself out. I've stopped rushing myself about things that aren't, like, I can't do everything all at once. I can't fix every single problem I've ever had up until this point right now to make myself feel better. So anytime I find my mind wandering to what I think I should be doing, or jumping into anxious panic, I'm running late mode, I pause and acknowledge that it's one step at a time. There is no rush, and everything will get done. Now, this getting stuff done, I've supplemented with journaling. I've never been a journaler. I've always wanted to be, but I would feel so much stress about finishing the book or filling the pages with things that are like worthwhile. So I would never start. I would literally never touch the book, or I would never finish the book, because I would stress myself out about the book. Or I would even try to have like different systems, and I would spend ages trying to create a system that would organize what I perceive to be like chaos into something neat. But my brain never really worked that way, and I would always give up. This time I literally went in with no system, just a blank book, no lines, nothing. And in this blank book, I would write down whatever I needed to write down, and it works for me. Essentially, I started, along with like my general notes, to-do list, shopping list, doodles, I've started jotting down my accomplishments as well, whenever I honestly remember to. I'm not even like making myself stick to like a strict schedule as to like when I should do something. It's just like, oh, like I should probably like, tally up what I've been doing. And this became essential on days where the feeling that I was making no progress would wash over me and I would find myself stepping back into like bad habits. This time I acknowledged that basically my brain has some scars from experience. It's set in its ways, and trying new things is going to feel dangerous, terrifying, wrong. So even on incredible days, I would feel like something is wrong. But having my journal to track growth would help me understand I am doing okay, this bad feeling is normal, and it's time to go to bed. So my brain can rest and create new habits and pathways. Because when you're making major changes like this, you often can't trust your feelings. Growing hurts, and running from the discomfort of facing I'm not where I want to be will further complicate things. 3, lower your expectations. This one was like incredibly hard for me to accept. Potential is great fuel when you're grinding and in a good flow, but it will dig your grave when you're not doing well. And one of the biggest things I've learned this year is the importance of keeping your word. I always considered myself an honest person. I by no means like to lie. I don't even do white lies. I won't even dress up a story for the most part. Like, lying is just something I morally can't get down with. Like, post my teen years, I don't really lie. Like if I have to lie to you, you have like a hold on me. Like, I fear you. And I don't like that. I really don't like that. And side note, All About Love by Bell Hooks, rest in peace, she just recently passed, has so many beautiful passages on the importance of not lying, not only for the sake of others, but for yourself. I strongly recommend everybody get this book. It's also been an incredibly important process of my current healing journey. But liar, I never considered myself one. So it was a major like surprise for me when I connected some dots and realized, oh, I am a liar. And here's the thing. I've never been someone that's like, you pinky promise. Like, I don't care. Like, people got their own, like, responsibilities, whatever. But I've realized, like, I'm breaking promises with myself. I'm not a woman of my word, a man of my word, a person of my word. I say I will do something, and then I won't do it. And not for others. It's worse. I won't do it for myself. And this is the danger of becoming an I'll get to it tomorrow kind of person when you know you're not going to get to it tomorrow. Your word loses power. Lowering your expectations is crucial because if you're not reaching it, you know that's not where you're at. You're maybe going through a difficult time. You need a lot of healing. And at the top of your to-do list every single day for the last 7 years is write that book you've been meaning to write, or clean your entire like cluttered ass apartment that hasn't seen the light of the sun in a year. You're setting yourself up to fail. This destroys your confidence because you're letting yourself down. Your words lose their power. You can't do all that new age like manifesting stuff if you're not following through on the things you say you're going to do. And people think things only have consequences when they affect others. No, these last 2 years have taught me the hard way what happens when you don't do as you say. And the thing is, when this has happened for long enough, it hurts so bad. And that's the struggle I've been having all year. Trying to figure out where it went wrong, whose fault it was, what I should have done different, or making it about my mental health in a way in which like I can't do anything about it. And that's extremely valid. Like, and if America had better resources, bro, I'd probably be on my way to a Nobel Peace Prize. Like, but at the base root of it all, I was living in shame over who I should be, creating expectations out of my ego and pride and not my actual current ability, starting for the first time to actually resent people that were doing better than me and blaming other aspects, like blaming society and systems and everything except for the fact that it's like, sis, where are the paintings? Like, I say I'm an artist, like, where are the paintings? I can't be mad at anyone if every day I say I'm gonna go paint and then I don't, and now I feel like I fell off, when it's like, what have I been doing? And that's a tough pill to swallow. And what's even tougher is deciding I can't operate at the level I thought I would at this point, but I can make small changes every day to get there. So the best way to open up the pathway to who you want to be is to do all the work you've been putting off. First, I wrote down 5-year goals. I've never been a goal girl. I hated setting goals. I would say it's corny, it's stressful, but I've realized a lot of my resistance to goal setting goes hand in hand with a lot of my self-destructive tendencies. Just because you don't verbalize a goal doesn't mean you don't have any. I've realized goal setting is about living with intention, and that has been the whole problem. I haven't lived with intention. I forgot the bigger picture. I didn't want to say I want things because what if I don't get them? It may hurt or I'll feel silly for trying. But at the end of the day, life keeps moving forward regardless of whether you are. And getting super specific with your goals and listing a few habits as to how you can get there, even if years pass and you learn new things and realize I'd rather be doing something else. Listing your goals and some habits to work towards greatly increases your quality of life. It allows you to move with purpose and ties in all of your daily actions to a bigger picture. I've always denied myself things. I deserve to say like what I want, even if only quietly to myself. Like 5 years ago, number 1, I want to be a top international artist. Number 2, I want to write and publish a book. Number 3, I want to own a home. Number 4, like, even if you don't know how it's going to happen, 5 years of living with intention will show me a few of the ways I can get there if I stay consistent. And this is like starting to sound really corny, like, but to heal, it sucks. You have to be like pretty cringe. Like, healing is so cringe, bro. It's like, I deserve better. It's like, I'm trying. Like, I am so ill. I need help. 2, you have to do the things you've been putting off. And I swear you do. It's like you have to do it at some point. I put off a lot of stuff. And like, here's the thing. It's time. Little by little. You don't got to do it all in one day. Of course not. Little by little. Once a week. Even if you can't do one little thing you've put off forever. Like, for example, I've done my taxes I was late on. I was late on 2 years of taxes. In my defense, the first tax guy ghosted us. Second tax guy, the tax due date this year literally said, I'm so stressed. I can't do your tax. I was like, bro, isn't this your job? How did my taxes stress you out? But anyways, I finally did it. I did them. I've been learning about how to save money for retirement. I'm a freelancer. Like, I don't, like, I just get paid my money and it's like, go live your life. Like, I haven't really thought about, like, retirement ever. So, like, now I'm, like, learning about it. I've been cleaning out closets and drawers that, like, much like the back of my mind felt too messy to ever face. So I just, like, closed them off and never looked at them. I've been trying to do all the basic stuff before I do the complex stuff. I stop everything I'm doing when I'm hungry now and don't let myself work without eating first. I don't let my dishes sit in the sink for too long. When I want something, I try and immediately get up and get it. Like, if I'm like, oh, I really need a glass of water, I don't just stay there like, 2 hours later, I should get that glass of water, I should get that. I just get up and get it. I don't even overthink it. I'm like, time to get it. Because that like reverberates into other daily activities, that energy. When I drop something, I pick it up. That's another basic one. I used to just drop things and just leave them on the floor. Like, who does that? Me. Like, not anymore though. I still do it a little bit. The expression, how you show up for one thing is how you show up for everything, has been my recent motto. Like, how you show up for the random thing you just dropped on the floor and pick it up is how you show up for, like, your actual job. It's how you show up for the people in your life. It's how you show up for literally everything. It like, find those patterns in your life. Everything is super intertwined is what I've realized. Like, I throw out my disposable contacts in the garbage. That's literally like 2 feet away from me in the bathroom. I throw it out in the garbage now when I take them off, instead of just like throwing them on like the corner of my bathroom on the floor, and then like weeks later like sweeping it all out and it's just like a mountain of little crunchy dried plastic contacts. Like, now I throw it out in the garbage. When I leave a room, I'll take my cup of coffee with me instead of like leaving it there and letting it turn into a biology experiment with like various colors of like mold thriving off of my unwillingness to respect my space. And like, I am by no means perfect at it, and I have such a long way to go, but I've been trying to add in one thing at a time. Instead of trying to enact 10 new systems of organization that will like fall apart by Tuesday, I take it slow, and when I remember, I do something instead of putting it off. And it's building out to being able to keep my apartment cleaner than I have in 2 years, and feeding myself more consistently than I have in months. To now, like, at the end of like December, I was able to like get an art studio again for the first time since like the beginning of April 2020, when I had to let go of my old space because I couldn't afford it anymore. Throughout all of this, I've allowed myself to rely on people around me for the first time too. You can't get better alone is a big lesson, which as a Virgo, I hate, but it is true. I tried to brain logic my way out of this like current obstacle and it didn't work. Relying on friends, family, my boyfriend has been amazing for someone like me who always felt like I needed to be self sufficient and independent. It's hard, but it's paying off. And in general, be patient. Life keeps going. If you want things to change, you have to change. Don't feel the need to rush. Everything happens as it should. And the need to be at a certain place at a certain age is an illusion. Surround yourself with good people. Everyone you keep around you is a reflection of you. And what you dislike in others is what you dislike in yourself. So don't delude yourself into thinking you're better than anyone. Work through shit, be humble, and grow. Like, ultimately, it's really hard because it's one of those things we're all at different points, and it's completely unfair how much we have been left to fend for ourselves. A lot of us don't have support systems. A lot of us, our finances are out the window. I have so much debt that for me, like, moving forward feels like I'm constantly taking 2 steps forwards and like 20 steps back. Like, doing the little things around my house has made a huge impact, like, on my mental health, on some real shit. I was really stuck on the couch every day. I'm so depressed, and yes, it's true. Like, I really am. I really am. But at the same time, it's like, it's one of those things that it's like getting better takes action. Like, time is important. You have to cycle through that period of inactivity. But if you're getting to that point where you're feeling that energy surge, and you're feeling frantic, and you're trying things, and you're like, earlier this year I was picking up 1,000,001 different hobbies. That's when I started my YouTube earlier this year. I was like, I started a Patreon, I started YouTube, I started a podcast, and I failed at all of it because I stopped following through. But that was like the first time I had energy, and like, I felt so bad because it was just like, oh my God, like, I'm failing, I'm so depressed, I have nothing, I keep trying to do stuff and it's like not working. But it's like something clicked in me, and I was just like, no, I'm trying to do something, like, for the first time ever. That's why, like, sometimes, like, if you're the personality type that's always picking up new hobbies and like constantly like buying all the things you need for the hobby and like researching it for a week, like, frantically, and then just being like, this is my life, and then like letting it go. I used to feel bad about being that kind of person, but that's just like a sign that my brain wants something. Even if like my energy, like, and my focus is a bit like shifty, like, that is the beginning of healing. And rather than being hard on myself about not following through on another thing, it's just like, recognize, like, my brain wants something. Like, that's fun. That should be celebrated. And also, something I found about like the being the person that picks up a million and one hobbies, you'll use the thing you bought eventually. Like, I have a sewing machine. My sister uses that. She makes clothes out of it. I have so many things that like I bought like years ago and I use now. Like, even this mic I bought when I was in college. I probably bought this like 5-6 years ago. I use it now. Like, don't ever like stress out about like buying something and not using it in the moment. Like, obviously watch your finances if you're someone that's struggling with your finances, but also like, don't feel bad about like having dreams and wanting to have hobbies and like starting stuff but having it not work out in that moment. Like, life is super duper long. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I am so weirdly low energy this time around. New York, everyone in New York City is sick. I've been going through the holiday season, so I'm kind of burnt out on family and gift giving and watching just money slip from my fingertips as I try to engage in the capitalist joy of gift giving. Um, but I hope everyone is staying safe. I hope that everyone is staying hydrated. I hope everyone's keeping their masks on. And let me know what else you guys want to see from me. If you're not already subscribed, just do it. All right, bye.